24 inches of snow for Raleigh, North Carolina. That's what one model is showing for Sunday morning. When was the last time your city got 2 feet of snow in a single storm? Because we need to talk about what's happening this weekend and why the forecast changed dramatically in the last 12 hours. 41 people have already died from the last winter storm. Right now, this second, 397,000 Americans are sitting in cold, dark homes waiting for power to come back. And the system developing for this weekend is tracking further east than we thought yesterday, which completely changes who gets hit hardest. In the next 12 minutes, I am going to break down exactly when the snow starts in your area, what amounts you should prepare for, and I am going to show you something fascinating about how this storm is going to intensify that explains why blizzard warnings might extend from North Carolina all the way to Massachusetts. But there's a split in the models that we need to discuss around the 8-minute mark that could change everything for New England. Leave your city in the comments right now because tomorrow morning I am doing personalized forecasts based on what the models show overnight. And trust me, you want that update. By 6 a.m. tomorrow, we'll know whether this storm stays offshore and hammers the coast or whether it comes inland and spreads the misery across a much wider area. Let me give you the timeline for the biggest cities right away. Atlanta, you re-looking at just a coating to 2 inches Saturday morning, not your main concern. Charlotte, Saturday afternoon is when you start seeing snow. Plan for 10 to 16 inches by Sunday morning. Greensboro, Winston-Salem, Raleigh, Saturday evening through Sunday morning is your danger window, 12 to 20 inches possible with the highest amounts toward the coast. Richmond, Virginia, you are getting hit Sunday morning, 8 to 14 inches. Washington, D.C., Sunday mid-morning through afternoon, 6 to 12 inches depending on the exact track. Philadelphia, Sunday afternoon, 8 to 12 inches. New York City, Sunday evening, 6 to 10 inches. Boston, and here's where it gets wild, Sunday night into Monday morning, anywhere from 12 to 30 inches depending on which model verifies. We'll break that down. But before we get into all of that, I need you to understand what's happening right now in the southeast, that's making this next storm even more dangerous. Kentucky has 11,000 homes without power still. Texas, 21,000. Louisiana, 71,000. Mississippi, 114,000. Tennessee, 128,000. Think about that for a second. More than 100,000 families in Tennessee have been without power through sub-zero temperatures, some of them for days now. And we're about to tell them another major winter storm is coming. These aren't just numbers. These are people who have already exhausted their resources, who have already asked friends and family for help, who are already at their breaking point. And here's the timing problem. Utility crews are working around the clock to restore power, but Saturday afternoon, they're going to have to stop. You can work on power lines in a blizzard, so everyone who doesn't have power back by Saturday morning might be stuck without it for several more days. Okay, let me walk you through this storm step by step, because the timing is everything for understanding how bad this gets. Friday, tomorrow, is deceptively calm. You're going to wake up to bitter cold. We are talking negative temperatures across the northern states, wind chills that are just brutal. But the storm hasn't formed yet. Friday is prep day. Get your supplies, charge your devices, check on neighbors, especially elderly folks who might not realize how serious this is going to be. Saturday morning, we start seeing the first snowflakes across northern Georgia. Chattanooga, you might see an inch or two. Dalton, similar situation. This is not a big deal for you. But by Saturday afternoon, we re-watching that moisture from the Gulf start to interact with cold air, and that's when things change. Anderson, South Carolina, Greenville, Saturday afternoon, you are starting to see accumulating snow, 3 to 6 inches. Spartanburg, you are in that same range. Columbia, Saturday afternoon into evening, 4 to 8 inches. And what concerns me about Columbia specifically is the ice potential before it transitions to all snow. You might have a period where it's sleet and freezing rain, which makes the roads even more dangerous than just snow would be. Now here's where we need to talk about what's happening off the coast, because this is the key to understanding this entire forecast. Saturday evening, the low pressure that's been organizing starts to move offshore near the South Carolina-North Carolina border. And when it gets over that warmer ocean water, it's going to intensify rapidly. I am talking about the pressure dropping 24 millibars in 24 hours, which is the definition of bombogenesis. What does that mean in practical terms? It means the winds are going to absolutely scream. It means snowfall rates could hit 2 to 3 inches per hour during the peak. It means this goes from a regular winter storm to a potentially historic event. Asheville, North Carolina, you were getting hit Saturday evening, 6 to 12 inches, but you were on the western edge, so you might actually see less than areas further east. Boone, similar situation, maybe even a bit less because you are further from where the moisture is going to be strongest. But Hickory, Lenoir, you are getting into the heavier amounts, 8 to 14 inches Saturday night. Fayetteville, North Carolina, this is where it starts to get really intense. Sunday morning, you are in the absolute worst of it. 12 to 18 inches possible with sustained winds 40 miles per hour. That S near whiteout conditions. I am talking about you look out your window and you can see your neighbor S house. Wilmington, New Bern, the Outer Banks, Sunday morning through Sunday afternoon, this is catastrophic for you. Not just the snow, which could be 15 to 25 inches in spots, but the wind. We re-talking sustained winds of 50 to 60 miles per hour with gusts potentially to 70. That's hurricane force wind gusts with heavy snow. That's a blizzard in the truest sense of the word. And here is something a lot of people don't realize about coastal North Carolina. You are not equipped for this. You don't have the snow plows that Boston has. You don't have the infrastructure. A foot of snow in Wilmington is a completely different situation than a foot of snow in Buffalo. Let me shift to Virginia because the timeline moves forward as we go north. Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Sunday afternoon is your worst period, 10 to 18 inches with very strong winds. And for those of you in the military stationed at Naval Station Norfolk, this is going to be a significant impact on operations. Portsmouth, Chesapeake, you in the same boat, no pun intended. Roanoke, you getting in on this Sunday morning, 6 to 10 inches. Lynchburg, similar amounts. Charlottesville, this is interesting because you right on the edge of where the heaviest snow sets up. You could see anywhere from 8 to 16 inches, depending on if the storm tracks a little further west or stays offshore. Richmond, and this is the state capital, so a lot of people watching, Sunday morning through Sunday afternoon is your window. Current thinking is 8 to 14 inches, but Ivy got to be honest with you. If this storm shifts 30 miles west, you could be looking at 18 to 20, and if it stays offshore, you might only see 6 to 8. That uncertainty range is still significant. Now let me address something about forecast models that matters for what I'm about to tell you. We've got three main systems we look at: the American GFS model, the European model, and the Canadian model. As of this morning S-runs, all three are showing a major storm, but they disagree on the exact track, and that disagreement grows as you go further north. For the Carolinas, they were pretty much locked in. Everyone is getting significant snow, but for the Mid-Atlantic and especially New England, there's a spread in the solutions that we need to talk about. Washington, D.C., Sunday mid-morning, you are starting to see snow. It's going to be heavy for a period. 6 to 12 inches is the range right now, with the lower end if the storm stays offshore, higher end if it comes a bit further west. Silver Spring, Bethesda, Arlington, Alexandria, you are all in that same range. Baltimore, you are slightly north, so your window is Sunday late morning through evening. Similar amounts, 6 to 12 inches, but you might see more mixing issues. There's a chance you get some sleet mixed in before it goes to all snow, which would cut down on your totals. Now here S, where we need to talk about the Delmarva Peninsula, because this is fascinating from a meteorology standpoint. Dover, Delaware, Salisbury, Maryland, Ocean City, you are on the western edge of where the storm is going to be absolutely cranking. Sunday morning through Sunday evening, 8 to 16 inches with the highest amounts right along the coast. And the wind, this is going to be a serious issue for you. We could be talking about beach erosion, minor coastal flooding, in addition to the heavy snow. Philadelphia, you come into this Sunday afternoon. The good news, if there is any, is the storm should be moving fast enough that you're not going to see 30-inch totals, but 8 to 12 inches is still a significant snowstorm for you. Cherry Hill, Camden, same situation across the river in Jersey. And speaking of New Jersey, this is where the gradient gets really sharp. Atlantic City, Cape May, you could see 10 to 16 inches Sunday afternoon and evening, but Trenton, you might only see 6 to 10, Newark 4 to 8, and that S over a distance of like 60 miles, that S, how tight the gradient is. New York City, and I know everyone wants to know about the city, you are on the northern fringe. Sunday evening through Sunday night, current thinking is 6 to 10 inches, but here is the thing. If this storm tracks 40 miles further north than expected, you could see significantly more. And if it stays south, you might only see 3 to 5. We need tomorrow S model runs to get better clarity. Long Island, Eastern Long Island, you are in a different situation entirely. Montauk, Riverhead, you are getting into the heavy stuff. 10 to 16 inches Sunday evening with very strong winds. This is a bad situation for you. Okay, now let me get to what I mentioned at the beginning about New England because this is where the forecast gets really uncertain. Connecticut, Hartford, New Haven, you are in this Sunday night. The conservative estimate is 8 to 14 inches. The aggressive estimate is 20 to 24. That's a massive spread, and here's why. The European model is showing the low pressure staying offshore and intensifying rapidly, but not quite close enough to bring the heaviest precipitation to southern New England. Under that scenario, you get a significant storm, but not a historic one. The GFS model is showing it tracking closer to the coast, which would bring much heavier totals. And the Canadian model is kind of in between, but leaning more toward the GFS solution. Providence, Rhode Island, similar situation. The spread is 10 to 22 inches. That's not me being wishy-washy. That's just where the forecast is right now. Boston. This is what I talked about at the very beginning. The European model shows 12 to 16 inches Sunday night into Monday morning. That's a major storm for you, but UV handled worse. The GFS is showing 20 to 30 inches. And folks, 30 inches is nearly 3 feet of snow. That would be one of the biggest storms in Boston's history. The Canadian model is showing 18 to 24 inches. So which one's right? I don't know yet. And anyone who tells you they know for certain is not being straight with you. We'll have much better data tomorrow morning after the overnight model runs. What I can tell you with confidence is that all three models show strong winds for New England. We read talking sustained winds 35 to 45 miles per hour with gusts over 50. That's blizzard conditions regardless of exactly how much snow falls. Worcester, you're going to get hammered Sunday night. Springfield, you're in this as well. And Portland, Maine, you are getting in on this Monday morning with potentially 12 to 20 inches. Let me loop back to something important. We've been talking about this one storm, but the pattern behind it is what really concerns me. After this system moves through, we've got another Arctic blast coming Tuesday and Wednesday, and there are already signals in the long-range models for another potential storm late next week. This is a pattern shift, everybody. This isn't a one storm and done. We are moving into an active, cold pattern that could persist for a week or more. Here's what you need to do. Tonight and tomorrow, prepare. If you re in the impact zone from Georgia to Maine, make sure you have supplies. Check on neighbors, especially elderly folks or anyone you know who might need help. Make sure people know where warming centers are located if they lose power. Saturday. If you are in the Carolinas or Virginia, that's your day to hunker down. Don't try to travel Saturday evening or Sunday. It's not worth it. Sunday, if you are in the Mid-Atlantic or Northeast, stay home. Just don't to go anywhere unless it's an absolute emergency. And for anyone still without power from the last storm, I know you are exhausted. I know this feels overwhelming. Please reach out for help if you need it. There are resources available, warming centers, shelters, neighbors who want to help. Don't to try to endure this alone. I'll be back tomorrow morning with updated forecasts based on overnight model data. We should have much better clarity on exact snow amounts and timing. This is still an evolving situation, and the forecast will continue to be refined. Drop your city in the comments. Tomorrow, I'll have specific information for your area. Stay safe, help your neighbors, and I'll see you in the morning with the latest